everyone, and welcome to Block 8. So we're moving along. Tony, talk to us about Block 8.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
Hello. Welcome, everybody. As you can see, Claire loves to talk on video. I will dob her in. I'm very good at that. So anyway, this is Block 8. I decided with Block 8 that I would give you all a bit of a break because I know Block 7 may be a little bit of a challenge. I know it was certainly a brain bender for me, writing the pattern. I enjoyed making the block and I was like, oh, this is really good. I love the way this looks. But then when it came to writing the pattern, I was like, how do I write this? Anyway, so hopefully you've enjoyed it. And now we're going to move on to Block 8, which is a little bit simpler. So the only stitch that you will learn in Block 8 is the crab stitch, and it will give you this surface stitch that looks like a nice line across your work, like this here. And I'm holding the block the wrong way. It actually will work across your block like this. So you've already learned how to do bobbles, because particularly if you did the shawl, you will have done the bobbles. There's half double crochets, there's single crochets, which you've already done, there's foundation stitch, and there's chain and crab stitch. So the only stitch you'll learn in this month is your crab stitch. So it should be a nice restful block for you to do. So hopefully you will enjoy it. Okay, happy crochet, and we will see you later on. Okay,
Yep. And
good
if
luck.
you're left-handed, you'll follow me. If you're right-handed, you'll follow Tony.
That's
Have a good
right.
afternoon. Bye.
Bye. Hello everyone. So I'm not going to start at the very beginning of this block because most of what you're doing with this block is stuff that you already know how to do. So this row here at the very beginning you should be able to recognize is a foundation row, and then I've done a row of single crochet, and then this is my row of bobbles. Then I've done a row of single crochet and half double crochet and the crab stitch. So that has been repeated along here. So I'm about to now do a row of half double crochet here, which you will have done before, but I will show you again. So we're going to do one chain, yarn around the hook into not this very first stitch, we're just going to go into this stitch here, and we're going to do yarn over the hook and pull through all 3 loops. And we're going to do that into every stitch along here to the end of the row. So that's your half double crochet, so that's into every stitch. So yarn around the hook, pull through 3 loops. So you've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. This is really important when you're going to do crab stitch and then as a surface texture. Often you will see that crab stitch is done as a finishing edge on the edge of blankets and on the edges of cardigans. Sometimes you see it on the bottom of jumpers and things like that. It can look really nice on a crocheted garment. But in this application it's being used as a surface, bit of surface interest. So you need to be able to work into the back of the stitch behind it, and in order to do this we need an extra loop. So this is where the half double crochet comes into its own, because you're going to have the 3 loops to work with. So when we get to the end of this row, we're then going to start doing our crab stitch, and when you work crab stitch you work in the opposite direction. So you're not actually going to turn the work at the end of the row, you're going to work backwards. So it's a little bit different to what you would have done before if you've never worked crab stitch. So it's not actually a new stitch in itself. Crab stitch is the same as single crochet in American or Australian terms, and in UK terms it's a double crochet stitch. So we're just coming up to the end here. We get to the very end, we do a half double crochet in the last stitch. Okay, so you can see I've now got half double crochets all the way along. So for my next row, the instructions say that I'm going to need to do a crab stitch in every stitch all the way along the row. So to start, I'm going to do a chain, and the instruction says to work a crab stitch in every stitch to the right of the working yarn. So this is my working yarn, so it's here. So we're going to do a single crochet, so that's no yarn over the hook, and instead of going this way, we're turning our hook the other way and we're going into that stitch there, through the top 2 loops of the half double crochet and pulling that back through and doing it. It's going to look pretty funky when you first see it. Again, through the top 2 loops. So if you look here, we've got these top 2 loops of the hook on the stitch, sorry. Pull the working yarn through, and here. There's the top 2 loops, through there and there. Pull that working yarn through, yarn over, and pull it through. Into here, pull that through, pull the working yarn through, yarn over, pull through those 2 loops. It can feel very contrary to what you already know about a single crochet. I'll try and do it a little bit slower. So you put the hook in here. You can see this is the loop that's on my hook. If I use these scissors, you can see these are the top 2 loops of the half double crochet. This is my working yarn. I'm going to scoop that working yarn up, pull it through to the front, and pull it through to the top like that. Into the next one, pull it through like that. Into the next one, and again. Into the next one, and again. You see how we've got a bit of a pattern happening? Into this one here, and again, and here, like this, just nice and slowly. So into the top of the stitch, pull the yarn through, yarn over, and make the stitch into there, just like a single crochet, just around the other way. So it means that your stitches will sit the other way. And I think I missed a stitch back there. Can you see that? I'm going to undo that. Don't you love crochet? Look at that. You can just undo it just like that. And we pick that up. So into the hole there, the stitch, pull it through, yarn through. Into the next stitch, pull it through. Into here, pull through. Nice and slowly. Okay. Nice and slow, so we go into the top of the stitch, out the back, pull the yarn through the stitch, yarn over and pull through the 2 loops on your hook. Into the stitch again, pull the loop through from the yarn through from the back to the front, yarn over and pull through the 2. So that's the action all the way along the row. Nice and slow. No need to rush. It's a very textured block, this. It's very nice. This is my son's favourite block. When he saw it, he said to me, "Mum, do me a whole blanket of this." Like, maybe not. Could get a bit boring after a while doing the same thing. No, see what happened there? I missed that back loop. Pull that out. back in, make sure I get both loops. There we go, in there, in both loops, in through both loops, pull the yarn through, yarn over and through. In the top of the stitch, through both loops, yarn over, pull through two. It's very easy to lose count of your stitches with this block. You need to make sure that you count your stitches all the time. Probably at the end of every row is a good idea. Last one there. Make sure we're going through 2 loops. Yes, that's twisted there. That's 2 loops. Okay, so that's your row of crab stitch. Okay, so you can see that's sitting as a nice row of rolled stitches. So it sits nice and rolled. And at the moment it looks quite flat. Now comes the miracle of the half double crochet. If I turn that over, you can see there's this row of loops across here. I'll move that up a little bit, you might be able to see it a bit better. Just across there. So remember I talked about when you do a half double crochet you have 3 loops. So now you're going to do another row of half double crochets, but this time you're going to work into this 3rd loop that's at the bottom here. See this loop here at the bottom of your half double crochet from the previous round. So this isn't the round where you worked or the row where you worked your crab stitch. This is the row that you worked your half double crochet into. So down here. So this is going to sit behind your row of crab stitch. Sometimes they can be a little bit tricky to find. But trust me, they're there. There we go, in here. Now yarn around the hook, find the loop, and in we go. Just like a normal half double crochet. But instead of into the top of a stitch, you're just going into that loop, just like that. And when you finish this row, you'll realise that you've done 3 rows of crochet without actually turning your work. So you could in fact do a whole load of crochet without turning your work at all, if you wanted to, by using this kind of technique. Okay. So we're just going to do this all the way to the end of this row. And we're going to turn the work, do a row of single crochet, and then we'll do your bobbles. Coming along really nicely. You can see how now that's sitting up a bit higher with that row of crochet sitting behind it. It's quite good. If you have trouble finding your 3rd loop, just roll your work toward you a little bit with your thumb and you'll just see that there's this loop sitting there. Alright. And if you look at the back of your half double crochet that you're making now, you can see you should be able to see there's your other loop there, see, because we're going to work in to here, and this loop here is that third loop that I'm talking about. So you would have worked your crab stitch into this loop, and this loop here is the third loop that we're talking about, that we're working this row of half double crochet into, this one here. Okay, just there. So if you'd just done a row of ordinary double crochet, this loop would not be there. One more there. And I think there might be one at the very end. Just there. There it is. Okay, so now I'm going to turn my work, do a single crochet, and then I'm going to do a single crochet in every stitch all the way along to the end. Then we'll do a couple of bobbles, and then I think you should be pretty good to go. Now there are lots of different ways that you can do bobbles in crochet. You know, you can do a single crochet, a double crochet, and then a treble, and then a double crochet, a single crochet, and then pull your hook out and pull them through together, and they can be called a popcorn. You do all sorts of different things. I particularly like this way with this row of single crochet between the single crochets between them, because the single crochet is a shorter stitch, which means that when you do your bobble and then you go down to a shorter stitch, it makes the bobble sit out further because it's pulled down to a shorter stitch. So when I do the bobble in the next row, you'll see what I'm talking about. Turn the work and do a chain. Now I'm just going to look down here. Okay, so I'm going to do 5 single crochet and then do a bobble. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now to do your bobble, that's yarn on into the space, yarn on, pull through 2 loops, yarn on, pull through 2, yarn on, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn on, pull through 2, and I've now got 2, 4, 6 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn on and pull through the first 5 till I've got 2 left on my hook. I'm going to pull that down, then I'm going to pull through that and pull it down nice and tight as much as I can. Make a chain and then go down and do a single crochet in there. Can you see now how that's pulled that down nice and snug down into there? So that's made that bobble come down nice and small. Then that's 1, so that's the second single crochet. That's 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to do another bobble. 1, 2, 3, got 6 loops on my hook. Pull through my first 5, then pull through the last 2, pull it up nice and tight, do a chain, come down to the single crochet, nice and tight. There we go. You see? So this is how your block will build. So you will end up with a block that looks a bit like this, hopefully. You get to the end and then you'll just have a single crochet round, do your 3 in your corners and your single crochet all the way around, and it should block out to around 12 inches for you. So I hope you enjoy this block. I know I did. It's very therapeutic, it just zips along quite nicely. Okay, thank you.